Hej och välkomna till ännu en intervju med min fina vän Caroline Latour. Caroline har ända sedan hon var barn känt att hon var här för att tjäna ett högre syfte. I jakten på att finna mer i livet har hon rest på heltid och varit in och ut i företag i många år. Hon kände sig aldrig tillfredsställd eftersom hon längtade efter ett högre syfte, att föra in ljus till världen. När hon hittade Modern Mystery School kände hon att hon äntligen hade hittat det hon letade efter och tog modigt tag på resa denna resan. Idag delar Caroline med sig av sitt ljus som Life Activation Practitioner och Ritual Master i kung Salomons härstamning. Och nu byter vi till engelska för själva intervjun. Hello Caroline, thank you for taking the time to join us here.
Hi, thank you so much. This sounded beautiful.
Yeah, it's a special language.
Yeah, it sounds a bit elven to me. Uh-huh.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the life activation today, and I feel like we should just get started with the
Yes.
first question. So what was it that made you choose to receive the life activation in the start?
It was very interesting for me because I was in a place in my life where I was kind of lost and I was looking for the light. I was remembering like, hey, I had all these ambitions. Like I wanted to become the best version of myself and be able to help humanity and the world, but I never really knew how I was going to do that. I was in a place where I was just trying to find something that would guide me and give me something that I could see, beyond where my hurdles were in that moment. And then I met someone. And in that conversation, everything felt so like privileged and the energy was something that unlocked a certain sensation in my body where I was like, wow, like I want to know more about this. Like I still don't understand what it is, but my entire like I'm quite an intuitive person being. And my entire being was just like, this you want to know more about, like, okay. So then I read through it and it sounded good, but I was still so like foggy in this place where I was in my life. Like I didn't really understand it fully yet. And there's still so much I'm learning on the process, right? But basically the reason I then went to life activation was because I wanted more. Like I wanted to find out what this magical sensation, like what is it behind this that makes me feel so, and that makes it feel like there's so much behind it. It's hard to put into words because we're working with a lot of energy, and energy is always, especially when we go higher up, like it is beyond the mind. So you really do have to experience things to be able to transmit what it's really like. But yeah.
That's beautiful. So next question. You received a life activation and then you decided to go to Healers Academy to become a life activation practitioner. And I wonder if you could share a little bit about why did you choose to take that next step to go forward?
Yeah. It was very interesting because I stepped into the room for life activation. I just felt so different. And then I remember my life activation practitioner sitting in front of me and being like, hey, do you have any questions? Like anything you would like to know? And at this point in time, I was so like, I was on a mission of like running and I was doing so much in my life. And I just had stopped the business that I was in because it didn't align with the person I wanted to become. So I basically had like was doing this leap of faith, and then I understood, hey, there's so much behind this, and I asked the person like, hey, how long did it take you from receiving a life activation to giving a life activation? Because I wanted to understand the business behind the whole thing, to be able to share what I was like feeling so excited about in that moment, even though I still was discovering it all. And he told me that I was very lucky because it was happening for the first time after COVID, like the month later. So it was very coincidental that I was free and that I had the possibility to go like so spontaneously. But I really wanted to be able to see what there is, like wanted to give it a chance and be able to share what I found for myself with others, and especially my family. Like I often think about my family first. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to be able to give this to the people that are close to me. And then of course to more and more people, because I remember when I first had my first contact with spirituality was more about like vibrations and learning the laws of the universe. And I developed this mission within myself of like, hey, I want to raise the vibration of humanity. I want to bring peace. I want to, raise my own vibration, but then help the world come to that place as well. But I never really knew how. I had no idea how I was going to be able to be that catalyzer and help humanity in that way. And then when I understood that, the life activation was more than just a session, there was a whole lineage, a whole path behind it. And I was like, wow, this is what I was looking for. This is what I was looking for. And there's a structure, there's a path, and there's a way for me to be able to actually achieve this dream that I had in myself, in my heart. But it was such a divine dream that I nearly like I didn't know how to share it with people without sounding crazy, because there was no way for me to do it. It was still so unclear. So then I I started dreaming even bigger, and like having something that could actually help me achieve this dream and mission just helped me be even more mission driven. And I'm able to just do so much more in my life since the life activation. Like I'm able to hold more energy and do more, because we're working with energy, but also the just having that path really helps directing me to the right place, and to where I want to go and where I want to help the people around me go. So yeah.
That's so beautiful and so magical. I'm so happy you found a life activation and that it sparked what it needs to spark inside of you so our paths can cross and you can share your light with the world. It's really
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, yeah. It nearly didn't happen. And then, sometimes I just ask myself, what would have happened if this person would have never just like spoken up and had a conversation with me? It's these little things. It's crazy. Yeah.
Crazy times. So, could you share a little bit about, obviously you did life activation and Power Thyself and Healers Academy quite quickly. But if you could share a little bit about what this initial light into your system, what it sparked, what change it sparked inside of you.
Yeah. Well, the biggest shift is probably what I saw, until the point where I went to empower myself. I actually went until like I was out and about in life like I was always, but I was showing up in a different way. And the first thing I really noticed as an effect of the life activation, because I felt good after the session, but you feel good, but you still can't really say, okay, what did it really change? So then when I met two ladies, and I all of a sudden like I was speaking from a place that was completely new to me, like, and they were like I was transmitting an energy that they really picked up on, and I was like, wow, the words that I'm saying, the things that are coming out of me is very different. So I could felt that shift of energy. And then I before that, as I mentioned, I was kind of in a chaotic, lost space where I didn't really know where to go and what to do. And all of a sudden, like my decision making became easier. Like it was easier for me to let go of what didn't serve me, because I saw what was good and what was harmful for me. It was just much easier to, and of course it wasn't perfect, but I was able to really just step into the right direction and be much more aligned with the person I wanted to be, and just embark on that process and go into the next step, without just sabotaging myself and putting up with so many excuses and etc. So I think I was able to move like this because of the life activation. It really supported me, and then like getting myself ready to just jump into, empower thyself, in Healers Academy.
Beautiful. So who would you say would benefit from receiving a life activation in our world today?
Yeah, yeah, it's true that there's people out there who are happy where they are and they don't really want to change. Like they don't. It comes with sometimes challenges, because you can see where you want, like you should change, and the things that are good for you, the things that are bad for you. I often talk kind of, about there's so much I could say, but basically, if you put it simply, in the Matrix, they give you like the option of the blue pill or red pill. And then sometimes I ask people, which pill would you take? Like, would you take the one that would show you reality and the truth of everything, but you could never go back? Or would you prefer not knowing anything about this and forgetting this meeting and just going back to your mundane life and living every day, same day every day, and just repeating the cycle? Um, and then people often say like, "Oh, I would take, the red pill. Like, I think that is the red pill to actually know the truth." I'm like, "Do you really want to? Because you can't go back." And then it just changes you from the mass, because you start thinking differently, you start realizing things, you start understanding energy and just noticing more. We have a physical body, but this we have a spiritual body as well. And there's only so much that we're perceiving at this point in time. But when we expand our energy structure, we can actually perceive more and see more. So there's so much going on in the world and around us, like in everything, in the spaces that we don't realize. And this is a journey that really brings you closer to that truth and stepping out of the matrix, and whatever that means to you. But basically, I would say that this is for someone who's tired and has had enough of just like repeating the same cycles and knowing that there's something more, but not having any idea how to understand and get there, or maybe believes it's impossible, but in a way wants to believe that it's true and can feel it. Um, so yeah, I think there are many people, especially in this generation, who are seekers and who are looking to understand the depth of this life and what it is that we kind of know it's there. We can feel it, we can sense it, we can't see it, we can't touch it, but we know it's there. And if you want to understand what that is and get answers to the questions that your being just really wants to know, then this is definitely something that you should do. Um, yeah, it has completely shifted everything. The people I surround myself with, the way I show up in the world, the way I perceive the world, especially when you continue on the path and you start living both paths, like the healer path and the warrior path, everything just falls. Like it just makes so much sense, and it's just, yeah, it's also for the brave, I would say, but it brings so much joy and light. The strength and connection and beauty we have in our relationships between each other, like people who are walking this path and also carry this light and want to share it. It's just magical, really, what we have here. It's invaluable, and it's a lifelong journey. So
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was beautiful. Even made me think about so many things. Well, thank you about that. Sadly, we'll reach the end of our interview. But I thank you so much, Caroline, for taking the time to come on and conversate a little bit about the life activation.
yeah.
And thank you for everybody watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.